Hello everyone, my name is Lou. I'm going to be doing a series of motion design tutorials for Unity and Unreal, but basically doing VR tutorials for the Gear VR and the Oculus DK2. It's pretty simple. You're going to need to download Unity 5, and we're also going to need to download the developers' Oculus utilities for Unity. Also, if you're using your phone, Samsung Gear or Samsung S6 or the Note 4, they're differing as the Note 4 uses GL 3.0 and Gear uses 2.0. So just some highlights. But basically, you should download the free version of Unity, and you pretty much can do whatever you want. Yeah, and just get a personal license and or a free personal license, and you can experiment and do VR pretty instantaneously. So here, let's go dive into this. So you're going to need to download this file that I just showed you, and basically you're going to be importing it into Unity, creating like this camera flow that doesn't have supported or doesn't have automatically. In Unreal, you can use pretty much anything, and you can press Alt Enter, and it automatically goes to that. But I haven't got it to work with the Gear VR yet. But that was before they updated to 5.81 or something. Okay, so let's continue this. So this is Unity. If you haven't used Unity, this is what Unity looks like. It's gray. Yeah, it is what it is. But basically, you download it, you bring it into here, and you just drag the utility Unity integration, and then you get a pop-up like this. And basically allows you to, it's all the back end for the cameras and stuff, and how textures can render. So we'll import that. But I'm going to be showing you C4D FBX animation, how you can import it into Unity and create a VR app pretty instantaneously, like I've been saying. So there's the OVR, and then we're going to want to go into prefab. And so this is, there's two different cameras. I tend to use the player one because there's some like issues happening when you use the OVR camera by itself. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the skybox, or I think that's what he's called. But basically the skybox doesn't work sometimes when you use the OVR camera versus the OVR player. Most of the time it works, and there's no issues with basically the entire skybox, which is basically like a 360-degree view of basically like a background layer. So you just drag this into there, and then you can also see what it looks like in the actual game. So if you had these like separated, it's most of the time you need to preview it, but you just get a good idea of like what you're seeing on screen. So we're gonna go into C4D now. So this is part of was part of 24-hour hackathon. Basically, I rigged a bunch of fish to go around, and like you could animate the position, the null. You can animate it on a spline using this method as well, which was surprising to me, but it actually worked. I'll put a link to the below of the actual tutorial with the fish being rigged, because it was one of the first times I've been rigged. But basically you're putting a joint in the center, and then you're using dynamics to animate, make it look more fish-like. You can make it pulsate and all that stuff, but I thought that the dynamics look better without it. So you can see I animated the anchor on this one just because I was experimenting. But there's another example of where I have it on the thing, and it still worked when I brought it into Unity after the fact. But basically, you're just animating. This is the one that was from the tutorial, and basically you're having a pulsate, and that's why you're getting like the little position change, or not the position change, but the fish moving like that, as it is. Okay, so we're gonna go from we're gonna go from here, and we're gonna go File, Export, FBX, and then we're gonna put this on my desktop, and then we're just gonna call this Tut. And then so we want to make sure that we bake all the keyframes, because I haven't experimented with dynamics too much, but you want to make sure you bake the keyframes, and everything, because and you also want to make sure you bring in the textures, because Unity doesn't really have a texturing thing inside. You're supposed to bring textures within it, from what I've been told. I may be incorrect, but this is what I've been told. So we always want to make sure we embed all of this. We want to make sure it's the latest FBX version that we can import, because just it works better with how the workflow for Unity is. Okay, so now that we've exported it, we're going to now so now we're going to have this FBX file that is here. It was on my other desktop. And now we are just going to drag this in here. Okay. So now, from here, you can see the animation. You can preview it right here. As you guys can see, make this a little bigger. But basically, if you drag it in here, it doesn't automatically do it. So if I pretty big fish. It takes a minute for it to go to game mode. It just something because I'm streaming as well. So automatically, it is not gonna animate. So what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna click here, then we're gonna click this, which is actually the animation that is been baked into the FBX file. But as you can see right here, you have the animation saying, you have the model, the rig, and everything. But then you can see in the animator, the animation is not initialized. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to drag this onto the layer, and then we get this animation workflow, as this is a good thing for like tweening animations or whatever. So what we're going to need to do now is we're going to basically have it complete the animation. So we're going to do make a transition, and we're going to have exit. In this, you can also have animations looping, which I'm going to show you in a second, but the workflow is fine, but it's just something you should note. So now that we have this set up, we should be able to drag this, and now we should be able to see this animate. So now we can see that it animates. So the problem that I had originally was trying to get this to work, but as you can see, it's clearly working. And then if I had a VR attached set, we could look around and you'd be able to see it in real time. If you guys are developing for anything, you have the build settings. So the build settings are right here. So development build and all these things. It's pretty simple, I would say, but for Android, this is really important that we use the you need to go into the settings, and then you need to check the settings, okay? It's because if you're rendering for the S6, you need to make sure it's a GL2, and you need to force it to be GL2, because automatically it'll be GL3, which is basically the graphics rendering system. Okay, so we're going to go prefer automatic. So this is this right here is the most important part. For the Note 4, I'm pretty sure it's 3.0, but no one online has really said this, but it's the S6 is 2.0. I'm not really sure why. I'm not really that technical. I'm like immediate technical level, but I think that basically it's the graphics card or whatnot. But basically, we want to make sure that we want to do GL force open GL2 for the Gear S6. Now, if you're using the S4 or that Note 4, excuse me, you will use 3.0. So that's just something that you should note as well. Besides that, there's a lot of different things you can do in here. You can animate the camera or whatnot, but I would highly recommend you do not do that. You do not want to animate the camera because it could cause motion sickness. You really want to have the objects around you moving, or have the entire scene move while you actually move the objects, because you cause this effect with the eye, and it basically displaces makes you not feel like you're there when you actually are there. Basically, the objects, there's something with the optical lens in your eye that does not like this. You can do it, but it's not recommended, I would say. Also, if you guys are designing for children, you want to make sure that basically when children put a VR headset on, they're more adept to looking 360 degrees because they're not conditioned to look forward like you are when you are 16. You can basically import any animation or FBX animation from Cinema 4D. I'm not sure about dynamics. I've not experimented with that. But if I have you can import position changes, rotations changes, as I showed you, and you can animate things on splines and stuff. So this creates a lot of opportunity for like sound design and stuff. Um, with sound, you can also like have little things or little objects you can place in the scene to do that. I'll do that in a later tutorial, but this is just an overview of how you actually export the animations and whatnot. But you can duplicate this and have it, you know, you can do lots of different things. You could, let me go down. So within this animation, this is the animation thing, or the animation play, but you can actually go here and you can go to animations and then you can loop it. You can change the curves, and then you can also do like all these other types of things. You can delay the animation, make it slower within Unity, and you won't actually have to go back and do the workflow. So this is the first part of my tutorial series on animation and VR for motion design. I hope you guys like this. I'm probably going to do more, but this is just basically an overview. Excuse me. But basically, just importing animations is really simple. It's a lot easier than people think. I'll link all the stuff you need below. You can also catch my other tutorial that I'm going to be doing on Unreal. Unreal's kind of more support, like I would say it supports, has a system called Blueprints. Basically, you can program node-based type of things versus Unity, kind of more of a programmer's type of thing. But I think 95% of users that are doing VR right now are using Unity because of the capabilities and the quick workflow that that it allows. But most filmmakers and like Oculus Story Studio, Penrose are using Unreal because of the lighting and things of that nature. But both have pros and cons. But developing for the Gear VR is easier, in my opinion, on the Unity platform, for now at least. I'll be showing you guys other tutorials later. Thank you very much.